The most dangerous place to sit in 2026 corporate enterprise is perfectly in the middle. You're caught between the C-suite demanding infinite productivity and a junior workforce armed with a generative AI that can produce it instantaneously. If your daily schedule consists of assigning tasks, checking deadlines, and holding status meetings, you are not a leader. You are a biological router. And in an era of automated, zero-latency workflows, human routers are the most expensive, inefficient bottlenecks on the balance sheet. They are about to be deleted. Before I give you the exact, uncompromising algorithmic blueprint to transition from an obsolete middle manager into an irreplaceable AI workforce curator, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these architectures. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to fundamentally dismantle your definition of leadership. We are going to execute the transition from managing people to managing outputs. We are going to replace your annual performance reviews with real-time prompt audits. Grab a notebook, it is time to stop acting like a supervisor and start operating like an editor-in-chief. Welcome back, I'm Doctor. To understand why my approach to executive leadership is aggressively different from the generic management theories taught in legacy MBA program, you must understand my underlying architecture. I hold a PhD in Human Resources, a master's from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai, and a bachelor's in Computer Engineering. I do not look at a human capital through the lens of emotional hand-holding. I look at it as a systems engineering problem. I build the exact algorithms that apex corporate entities in Dubai and global capability centers in India uses to scale their operations. We must establish the fundamental axioms of this masterclass immediately. Curate or be automated. When the generation of work becomes functionally free, the act of managing the generation of work becomes worthless. The one capability that remains a premium valuation in the C-suite is elite, uncompromising discernment. Let us break down the death of the supervisor and the rise of the Curation command center. Phase 1. The death of the supervisor. We must first diagnose the structural collapse of the traditional middle management. For the last 100 years, the corporate hierarchy relied on supervisor because human labor is inherently slow, prone to fatigue, and easily distracted. Corporations needed an entire class of employees dedicated purely to administrative oversight. You were paid to walk the floor, look over the shoulder, and ask, is the report done? Are we going to hit the Friday deadline? In 2026, this operational model is entirely dead. We now deploy autonomous AI agents, integrated natively into the enterprise software like Microsoft Copilot and advanced AI. These agents do not just write code or draft marketing copy. They autonomously ingest project requirement, fracture them into microtasks, assign those tasks to the optimal human or digital worker, track the completion in real time, and generate a synthesized status report for the CEO every morning at 6 a.m. Build the fence. We must build a cognitive fence around this concept so you do not confuse it with historical management software. This is not Zira. This is not Asana. A project management tool requires a human to update the ticket. An autonomous AI agent is the project manager. It updates itself. If your primary value to your organization is checking if the work was done, your job has already been automated by a script that costs $30 a month. You must execute a violent transition from managing people to managing outputs. We are moving away from checking if the work was completed to ruthlessly interrogating how the work was conceived. If you are still running weekly, hour-long status meetings just to gather updates that an AI dashboard could have generated in 3 seconds, you are signaling to the board of directors that you are computationally illiterate. You must abandon the trenches of administrative oversight. Phase 2. The Curation command center. If the machine is managing the timeline, tracking the KPIs, and generating the raw execution, what exactly is a modern leader supposed to do? You must build a Curation command center. Leadership is no longer about driving output volume. Pushing your team to work harder or produce more is a redundant metric when your junior analyst can use an LLM to generate 50 different market strategies in a single hour. The problem in the post-generative AI workforce is not scarcity. The problem is deafening, catastrophic, algorithmic noise. If you have 50 strategies on your desk, your job is not to praise your team's speed. Your job is to possess the elite, razor-sharp strategic taste required to identify the one strategy that will capture the market share, while eliminating the 49 that will bankrupt the company or destroy the brand. You must act as an editor-in-chief of your department. Think about the editor-in-chief of a Tier 1 publication. They do not write every article, they do not micromanage the grammar, they look at the raw draft and then apply elite filtration. They ask, does this align with our aggressive brand posture? Is there a fatal hallucinated logical flaw hidden in the third paragraph? Does this piece of data violate our compliance axiom? You are no longer a technical micromanager, you are the final cognitive filter. You refine raw, hallucination-prone AI drafts into polished, weaponized strategic assets. The machine provides an infinite supply of clay. You are the sculptor who chips away everything that isn't the masterpiece. Phase 3, from performance reviews to prompt audits. This operational shift requires a complete systematic teardown of how we evaluate talent. The annual performance review is an industrial age artifact. Sitting down with an employee once a year to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 based on their punctuality and manual output volume is mathematically meaningless when an AI is doing 85% of their actual typing. In 2026, elite leaders do not conduct performance review. They conduct real-time prompt audits. Evaluating an employee's value now rests entirely on their ability to architect complex instruction. You do not review their final report. You review the exact prompt chain they use to generate that report. Let me give you a stark operational example. If you look at your junior marketer's terminal and their prompt is, write a social media campaign for our new real estate launch in Dubai, they are a button clicker. They are relying on the statistical average of the machine. They are generating dangerous, generic noise that will make your brand invisible. If you look at your senior marketer's terminal and their prompt is, act as a hostile consumer psychologist, analyze the current D33 economic data against our target demographic purchasing anxiety, generate a 3-phase campaign that directly attacks the hesitation of buying off-plan property using strict meta-negative prompting to avoid all standard real estate buzzword, they are not the marketer, they are an architect. This is what I define as intent architecture. As a leader, conducting a prompt audit allows you to peer directly into the cognitive mechanism of your team. You can instantly identify who is truly driving the systematic innovation and who is just a lazy passenger letting the algorithm do their thinking. You manage their logic, you audit their constraint, you evaluate the questions they ask because the machine already has all the answers. Phase 4, orchestration over execution. We have established that execution has been entirely commoditized. The marginal cost of generating a legal contract, a piece of back-end software, or a localized financial model has fallen to near absolute zero. Therefore, your new mandate as a C-suite or a mid-level leader is orchestration. You are a symphony conductor. The conductor does not play the violin. The conductor synchronizes various highly specialized instruments into a cohesive, multi-modal production engine. In your department, you might have a predictive AI model forecasting supply chain latency in Saudi Arabia, a generative AI model designing the procurement contracts, and a biological human team ensuring cultural and legal compliance on the ground. Your job is to ensure that the data payload flows flawlessly between these biological and digital nodes without friction, latency, or corruption. But orchestration is not just about connecting APIs. The ultimate human premium is strategic discernment and the human override. An AI algorithm might analyze your Dubai operations and recommend laying off 15% of your regional sales staff. The AI will show you a dashboard providing that this execution will optimize your short-term EBITDA by $4.2 million. Mathematically, the AI is flawlessly correct. But as the orchestrator, you possess the one dataset that machine lacks: nuanced, irrational human context. You know that laying off that specific 15% of the sales force will destroy the long-term, high-trust relationship with key sovereign wealth fund. You know it will create a massive reputational deficit that will cost the company 10x more in 36-month horizon. You look at the machine's perfectly calculated recommendation and you veto it. You execute the human override, you absorb the risk. That is a capability that cannot be coded. That is why they pay you an executive salary. Phase 5, the future of elite discernment. As we look towards the 2027 corporate landscape, the hierarchy of value has been permanently rewritten. The people who do the work are being automated. The people who manage the people who do the work are being laid off. The only irreplaceable human asset remaining in the post-labor economy is the ability to define what good actually look like. For your entire career, the education system and the corporate ladder trained you to be the person with the answers. If the CEO asked a question in the boardroom, your value was tied to how quickly you could provide the correct data. You must violently pivot away from this mindset. The AI has all the answers. The AI can access the synthesize. The entirety of the human knowledge is 400 milliseconds. Your job is no longer to provide the answer. Your job is to become the ultimate architect of the questions that drives the machine. If you ask the machine a mediocre question, you get a mediocre, highly vulnerable company. If you ask the machine an industry-shattering Socratic question, you uncover the exact wedge required to disrupt the global market. Let me cycle the core subject one final time to ensure absolute comprehension. Survival in this new hierarchy requires a racial embrace of a single uncompromising mandate. Curate or be automated. You must prioritize vision over volume. You must prioritize high-level taste over manual speed. Let the algorithm handle the exhaustion of execution. Reserve your biological bandwidth for the absolute mastery of direction. In 2026, autonomous AI agents handle the workflow routing and tracking instantly. The traditional middle manager is the most expensive bottleneck on the balance sheet. To survive, you must pivot from managing execution to curating outputs. You must become the editor-in-chief of your department. Stop doing annual reviews. Start doing real-time prompt audits. Evaluate your team on the logic of their instruction, not the speed of the typing. The era of the manager is dead. The era of curator has begun. Curate or be automated. Click the link in the description to watch the full masterpiece on leading a post-AI workforce and hit subscribe. I'll see you at the top.